And so when I say I was tired, I was exhausted. I was exhausted from living a double life, this way on Sunday to the church folks, this way to the club folks, this way to the basketball folks, this way to the small group folks. Like, it was exhausting. And so my breaking point, honestly speaking, was I use dating loosely because I would not commit. But there were 3 women. There was one in Montgomery, one in Auburn, and one in Birmingham.
Wow.
And, thank you. And I was, I guess you're casually dating all 3 of them at the same time. And so this was summer of 2015, and I was going back out for my second season. My body was just like toast. Now, I knew the Lord's voice enough to know that at that point he was telling me, I'm using this to tell you it's time to step away from basketball. My moment and the end of my toilet flush was making 3 phone calls, one to each of those women, and telling them that I was ending things. And I knew it was different this time because I was ending it for them, not for me. Everything up until that point had been self-motivated and very selfish. But I knew that it wasn't fair. It wasn't right to them. And that was a turning point. I just kept doing the next right thing.
Yeah.
So you may not know what the next, like, I can look back now and see it all strung together.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was just like, I'm just going to go to church. I feel like I should get baptized. Hey, here's a cell phone. Connection. 6 months later, I need to break these things. I need to break these relationships off. This isn't. If they knew, like, how would I feel?
Yeah.
If someone was playing me like a funky fiddle. You know what I'm saying? And then 21 days of prayer and fasting. I was already at the church. They did it. I was single. Didn't have to be to work till like 8 or 9. I'm just going to go. Okay, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
And day 6 to 8, somewhere around there, I felt like the Lord told me to get more information about the Highlands College. And literally it just went from there. So that point was when I started to, like, I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see that there is more.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Faith Ignite podcast, and we're so excited you decided to join us for today's episode. Hey, and if we have not had the opportunity to meet, my name is Devon Williamson. I get the opportunity to host this show and this podcast, so you can be able to hear stories of faith that will build you up and be able to encourage your faith and ignite your faith so you can believe God for greater. And before we jump into today's episode, hey, I'm going to ask you to do a few things. Hey, if this podcast has helped you in the past or you've heard about us before, we would ask that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on so you are aware when new episodes are released. And hey, if you want to take your faith just one step further, you can become a financial partner of this ministry. You can follow the link below. It'll take you to our website, and you can partner with us there, and you can be able to help us take these stories of faith around the world to the people that need them. You can help us be the distributors of faith, because faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of God. So we're going to hear stories, or they're going to hear stories of people testifying of what God has done, and what it's going to do is encourage them, the listeners, to be able to believe, wow, if God can do it for him, or God can do it for her, he can do it for me. And so that's what your partnership is going towards, helping us further this mission, helping us spread the gospel so people can have faith in God and believe in the name of Jesus Christ. And then lastly, hey, if there's something going on in your life, we would love to know about it. Go ahead and drop a comment below. Hey, you can send us an email, reach out to us on social media. We would love to see what God's doing in your life so we can celebrate with you. Okay, so now that we have all of that out of the way, we have a really important guest with us. We go to the same church. This gentleman born and raised in Atlanta, played basketball all throughout high school, and then went into have a basketball career in college. From there, went and played professional basketball, and during that time, he has this period which he famously calls the 10-year toilet flush, and we'll dissect what that meant when we end this episode. But and then from there, had a radical change and transformation, met Jesus, and then from there followed him into full-time ministry. So he's been pursuing and spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ to those people in the local church and then even to the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Adam Okechukwu. No?
Okechukwu.
Okechukwu. Okay, Okechukwu.
Okechukwu.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Adam Dang it, I just had it. Mr. Adam Okechukwu.
Nailed it.
There you go. Woo! Feel like I said it. Feel like I was cramming for a midterm. Now I can just let it go out of my head.
You don't have to say it the rest of the time. Just forget about it.
Oh man, Adam, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me. You're a great communicator.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I was told that was one of my giftings. I didn't know it.
I agree with that.
I did not know it beforehand, but I was told this is one of my giftings, and so since finding that out, I've been very intentional of trying to develop that gift even more. And so I appreciate that, man.
It shows.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Adam, for those that don't know, who do I have the pleasure of sitting with?
Mr. Okechukwu, just in case y'all needed to hear it one more time.
Yeah, don't ask me to say it.
That's a loaded question.
I bet it is.
I would say primarily a follower of Jesus. I would say a husband, a father, and an individual who has experienced what grace actually means. And I've experienced the patience of God throughout my life. And because I have lived these things, I guess I would say you get to sit across from someone who has lost all right to judge people. I've lost all right to cast shame and guilt on people because of what I've gone through and how the Lord has shown up. But you're also sitting across from someone who I like to think I'm a fun guy. I love my family, love our church, love the Lord, and I just like to I'm super laid back, and I'm tall, but I walk slow. So that's kind of like the mantra for my life. I'm just like pretty even keel all the way around, unless you get me fired up. And again, depending on which question you ask me, we'll see.
Man, okay, we're gonna have fun this episode. We really are. So, talk to me about what it was like growing up in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've only known, obviously, growing up in the Bahamas, and so I know Atlanta's a big city. You have a lot of opportunity there. But talk to me what it was like for you growing up in Atlanta.
Yeah, well, it was really cool being best friends with Ludacris and Lil Jon and T.I. I'm just playing. It was fun. I would say it was fun. So we lived so if you've ever been to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, the airport in Atlanta, that's actually in College Park, Georgia, unless they've changed city lines. But I think the address is actually College Park. So that's where I'm from. So just on the south side of the city. And so the big city, you got Atlanta, you got North Springs and all the things north of Atlanta. And so we lived in College Park. Growing up there, my dad was present for like the first 3 years of my life. He ended up, depends on whether you ask my mom or my dad, stuff happened, and he ended up going to prison. And then since he's from Nigeria, after he got out 5 years later, he got deported. And so growing up in Atlanta was fun. Our neighborhood was all black, so if you are familiar with that, you can imagine some of the things that went on. And just growing up in the 90s, when the street light came on, that was your time to come home. Like, it was so free. And I think in my earlier years, I have an older brother. He's about 3 years older than me. And in my early years, it was just a lot. We lived in a cul-de-sac. So, you mentioned playing basketball in college and into semi-pro, but we had a football-shaped toy box that was probably like this wide and this tall off the ground, and we would drag it into on the sewer head in the center of the cul-de-sac, and that's where it started.
Okay.
And so all the neighbors, we didn't have, it was just me and my brother on that, but when we got basketball goals, we ended up getting 2 of them, so we play full court basketball, people from all over just coming over and playing, and I was the youngest, so I think at the time I was probably the worst, just because I was the least developed in the sport. But I think I ended up being the only one that went on to play. So that's my personal claim to fame, like the rise in the neighborhood ranks. But honestly, man, we didn't do a whole lot. A single mom. She still hasn't remarried to this day, so that's kind of all we knew. We went into middle school and high school. We're part of the magnet program, so we went to school on the north side of the city. Less dangerous activities going on, and my mom really wanted us to have a better education, and so that's what ended up happening. And I think it was at that point where I started to get mixed up, if you will, because we grew up in church. My mom was super consistent with that, and so I knew the Lord, and I feel like I was walking with him pretty steadily in my earlier years, but it was in high school where things kind of took a turn and started my 10-year toilet flush.
So I'm gonna put a pin in that one. I want to circle back to like your upbringing in Atlanta. So obviously your upbringing in Atlanta. What was it like? Now dad's not present, only present for the first 3 years of your life, but there's something that that only a male can pass on to their son. But what was that like now? You not having a father, and so now you're trying to figure this whole manhood thing out by yourself. Your mom's doing the best that she can. So what was that like? What do you think were some of the challenges? What do you think were some of the things that you had to adapt to, and how was it that you were able to break free of those?
Well, I feel like I should pause and say shout out to all the parents. Specifically, I mentioned I'm a dad. We have a 3-year-old and then one on the way. But in my first 2 months, maybe even less than that of being a dad, my empathy for single parents like exploded, because you just imagine, what if I didn't have this other person helping me with all these things? So shout out to all the either parents, single moms, single dads, or products of one of those. I see you. I think that the challenge was exactly what you said. That there are some things that only a man can give you. Now, my mom did the absolute best she could. I love my mom. Looking back, I really wouldn't change much about my childhood, but I think the struggle was, for me, it was a little bit easier because I had an older brother. So he's the one that fought for me. He's the one that I leaned on. He's the one I had to look up to. At some point, I started to get this empathetic heart for him, because he didn't have the older male to look up to. And it honestly didn't take a head until like middle school, high school, when, hormones and puberty and all these things, and you get this interest in the opposite sex, and you don't know what to do with it, and really there wasn't a whole lot, and probably still not a whole lot in the culture that models in a healthy way men showing emotion, men leaning on other men talking about stuff that seems weak or soft is a word that's used a lot, especially in the Black culture. And so growing up, it was just like, well, I just got my brother. And then in high school, when I was in high school and he had gone off to college, I think that's when it came to a head, when I'm in and out of these relationships, and I'm playing basketball, and in freshman year, I'm like not that good. Like I just don't know what to do with the emotions that are flooding my body, my character, all these things. And so the challenge was, you just learn to shut up and stuff it down. And you learn, which is incorrect, but the narrative is nobody has time for you to be soft, and nobody has time for you to be weak. And that is reinforced if you do try to show emotion, or you do try to bring something up that's bothering you, and it is shut down by your peers. Then it's even more so reinforced, and no fault to it's just people, it's just culture, it's guys, it's men's sports. And so that is what I learned from that, and honestly, that I would love to say there was a cutoff date. Like at 27, at 35, I am still it's gotten better with a lot of counseling, and obviously having the right spouse helps a lot. Today, this morning, I experienced the result of just feeling like you have to keep it all to yourself. Yeah. So I would say that was probably the biggest struggle. And like I said, that I really started to see that in high school when my brother wasn't at home. So.
Yeah. So you'd mentioned something about in high school. So let's pick up at high school.
Okay.
High school, you said, was the start of that 10-year flush. So what exactly, because I want to know, and I'm pretty sure everybody else want to know, what exactly is this 10-year flush?
Yeah, so the 10-year toilet flush started when I was 15.
Okay.
So I think I had, if you're dating in middle school, that's like, I don't really count that. So like my first real girlfriend was my sophomore year of high school. And now you said I can be transparent.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to just tell it like it is.
Tell it as it is. Because somebody may be going through something similar.
And I'm very grateful that everything I'm about to say, my wife already knows. So, babe, you will not find out any new news on this podcast. So dated this girl. Looking back, man, hindsight is always 20/20. But when we started dating, she told me that she was still in love with her ex-boyfriend. And I was like, but you got me now. We'll be all right. So dated her for a year. And, I mentioned, when you get to middle school and high school, hormones and puberty and all these things, all the things that I had heard about or seen, I got to live out with her. So you name it from a sexual standpoint. Like it was just a free-for-all. I had no clue what was actually happening to my spirit, to my soul. But we dated for a year, and about a year later, that same dude that she was in love with, she cheated on me with. And so I'll take you to my childhood home, and I was in what used to be my brother's room that was at this point like the office in the house. And so I'm on the phone, I called her friend, caught her in a lie. I just felt something was off. She wasn't being honest. So I called her friend. She did a terrible job of lying for her friend. So I called my girlfriend, and we're on the phone. And long story short, she told me, like, I kissed him. Now, here's the thing. Cheating is cheating, and cheating is not okay. But, I mean, you would have thought she married the dude or something. And so I was on the phone. She told me, and I'm walking towards, so this is the office, and then there's a hallway, and then right across is my mom's room. And so I'm on the phone. She tells me, I'm walking out of the room into the hallway. I take a deep breath, and I turn the corner. And then you go down the hallway, down the stairs, into the den. And I just broke. And I feel like up until that point, I was so naive. I was so full of love and joy, and I felt like I would have done anything for her. Like we had 8 kids named. We stopping that too, but at the time we had 8 kids named with her, and in that moment I just remember breaking down, crying into the couch, this funky patterned 90s couch. And I stood up from that moment, and I didn't verbally say this, but looking back, I now know what happened was there was a part of me that told myself, I will never let this happen to me again. I'll never make myself so naive, so vulnerable, so transparent that anybody can hurt me like this again. And I stuck to that for 10 freaking years. And so what that looked like was, again, I grew up, I know the Lord. I know his faithfulness. I've been to church. And I'm still going to church here and there. Man, I just did whatever my flesh wanted to do, man.
Yeah.
And I've never been like, I'm a little like scary, maybe because I'm black, but I haven't gotten like super into any, like I'm mindful about my sin, or I was anyway.
Yeah.
And so like I did things that definitely could have landed me in jail, drinking and driving and smoking weed back before it was legal, and like all these things for 10 years. But I felt like, well, I'm not doing any like super hard drugs, or I'm not having one night stands. I'm only sleeping with women that I know. We're friends. So I found ways to justify my sin for 10 years. And towards the tail end of that toilet flush, I just got tired. And I was tired of breaking promises to God. I was tired of, if you just get me home tonight, I'll never drink this much again. He gets me home. I sleep it off. And the next weekend, what am I doing? The same dang thing. On repeat. Because I went to college in Montgomery, but ended up living in Auburn.
Okay.
Auburn, like, the city is a college. Bars here, they are everywhere. And so towards the tail end of that, I was just like, I was in the perfect spot to just screw up my life. And I almost did.
Okay. So I think we should go into it.
Okay.
Just because I do believe that there may be people that's on the other end of this. And for you, those that don't understand, someone may never step foot in the church. Mm-hmm. They may never get to receive the traditional way of receiving Christ, going to church service, all that stuff. This may be all they have. And so I would love to kind of dissect some of that stuff, because someone may be watching and they're going through something similar. Mm-hmm. And if they may be able to see themselves in you and say, wow, if God could change Adam after all of that, what could he do for me? You know? Yeah. And so in this part, so this 10-year toilet flush, so you made a decision in your heart, I have never allowed myself to get hurt like that again. So what did that look like as far as even so-called friends, like having friends next to you? Because I'm like, if you're gonna close yourself off that much, like you're probably just gonna be around people, don't even know them. Like, say, yeah, we're friends, but you probably don't even know these people's last name.
Brother, you are preaching. I think it was Brene Brown that said something to the extent of, like, you can't selectively close off emotions. So I can't just shut off anger. But when I shut off this emotion, I'm also shutting off joy. I'm also shutting off other emotions that allow me to connect. So honestly, what it looked like was exactly what you said. That would have been 15. So 15 to 25. I have no friends from birth till 25. Anybody that was in my life at that point, I don't have anybody that I talk to. And I don't know if, I had up such a thick shield. And what's funny is a lot of people thought we were friends. And I knew a lot about a lot of people, because I think that God has gifted me in curiosity and connection. And so by asking good questions, I am able to connect with people. And I use that now for the glory of God within ministry and other contexts. But back then, I didn't understand I just knew I was good at it. And honestly, every gift that the Lord gives you can also be, I don't want to say a curse. You can use it in a worldly, fleshly, if you will, sense. Yeah. And so when I think back, this gift of curiosity and connecting with people, that's how I slept around so much. So I didn't do it quickly, which is why I never had a one-night stand, because I'm also kind of shy and I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
But with friends, you just win them over and you connect with them. And so in that regard, that's what led to a lot of that type of sin. But then on the friendship piece, I knew a lot about a lot of people. And I became a master at deflection. And so as soon as you tried to, like, ask me a question or dig deeper, I had this, I'll just call it what it is, this manipulative way of turning it back on you and making you feel so good, because who doesn't like to talk about themselves? If somebody shows interest in you, or, wants to know more about you or your wife or your marriage or your podcast, like, that feels good.
Yep.
And I use that in order to keep myself hidden from every single person in my life. And so in a friendship context, there are, on the tail end of like 25, I have friendships that I've formed. Nobody really knew who I was. And at a point I thought, like, man, nobody cares. But looking back, I'm like, fool, that was your fault. Like, you kept them at a distance because you were afraid to get hurt. And with vulnerability and transparency comes an open target for wounds, no matter what the relationship is. And I just wasn't willing to do that. And in the relationship context, same thing. Like I was such a dog, man. That's not like a good thing. Like I was just a bad person. Like I was so manipulative. I could twist situations and words to my advantage, and it was bad, man. And so if there is anybody who, like, I'll just say this: if you feel like you've had a reason to become closed off, whether that's something from your childhood, a relationship, a friendship, something at work, whatever it is, first of all, I want to say it's not easy to break free of that, because like I said earlier, I have not broken free of that, even walking with the Lord. So if anybody has pitched you the sales pitch of Christianity, that walking with the Lord cures everything and makes life easy, whatever you were struggling with before, trust in Jesus, you won't struggle, that is not true. And if it is true, I just hadn't figured it out yet. And so if there is somebody who you feel like opening up is difficult for you, counseling would be my encouragement. Find a good counselor, because it's a process. And sometimes the Lord can reach down from heaven, touch our situation, and heal it in a minute. And other times, he sends a baby and waits 33 years.
So you'd said something, going back to Auburn, placing you back in Auburn. You got to a point where you said you were just done. You were like, you would do this, you would do it one weekend, throw up that prayer like most people throw up. You know, if you get me through this, yeah.
Get me home.
Yeah, if you get you home, like, I'll never do this again. We make those vows and promises to God with no intention of keeping them.
At all.
But what was your breaking point at that point? Like you said, you were done. What was your breaking point at that point? And then when did faith become real to you? When did your relationship with God become real to you at that point?
So the breaking point was and I'll say this. I heard, I think his name is Jason something, dude on Instagram. He's written a book or two or a couple books. When a man says, I'm tired, he usually doesn't mean he needs a nap. And I heard that recently, but when I think back of how many times, like when I would say those words out loud and to someone or in a situation to God, I would just break. And then all I said was, I'm tired. But I've learned how all encompassing that one phrase is. And so when I say I was tired, I was exhausted. I was exhausted from living a double life, this way on Sunday to the church folks, this way to the club folks, this way to the basketball folks, this way to the small group folks. Like, it was exhausting. And so my breaking point, honestly speaking, was I use dating loosely because I would not commit. But there were 3 women. There was one in Montgomery, one in Auburn, and one in Birmingham.
Wow.
Thank you. And I was, I guess you're casually dating all 3 of them at the same time. And so this was summer of 2015. Going back out for so I played a year semi-pro. I coached the women for a year, and I was going back out for my second season. And just from college and the ignorance of not taking advantage of my college paying for physical therapy after cert, I didn't do what I could have to help my body. And so many years of hooping and wear and tear, 2 knee surgeries, a hernia surgery, my body was just like toast. Now, I knew the Lord's voice enough to know that at that point he was telling me, I'm using this to tell you it's time to step away from basketball. Now, I've heard a lot of stories where people feel like they attended a camp in middle school or summer camp and they felt called to ministry and like they had this moment with the Lord where he made it very clear. All the Lord God told me was stop. Mm. He didn't tell me what was next. He didn't tell me I have something better for you. He just said, I'm telling you it's time to stop playing basketball. Yep. And had he not made it so clear, I would have healed up and tried to go back out and pursue my dream. But because he did, and he gave me an obedient heart in that season, I listened. So put that down. All my teammates calling, had to tell them, like, I'm done. Yeah. Went to Montgomery, crazy enough. Went to Montgomery to go to church with one of the 3 girls. And she got baptized. I felt like I needed to be baptized. I think this was like baptism number 3 for me. Which is incorrect theology, but I was like, I'm still dirty. I just need to go again. So I went in, was in the men's restroom, and found a cell phone. Mm. And so I took it because I lived in Montgomery and I started going to that church in Montgomery. So I took it to one of the pastors that I knew. Through that random interaction, he connected me with the campus pastor at the Auburn location, and then I got plugged into a small group. Okay. This small group was hosted by the campus pastor, so as you can, and it was for young adults. So like post-college, obviously Auburn, huge college community, post-college, pre-marriage. Okay. 86 people in this man's house. And I remember walking in and thinking, if these people knew who I am and the things I have done and am currently doing, they would run me out of here so fast. Wow. But I stayed, and in fact, what I found was they were all kind of messed up, just in our own way. Mm. And so went through that, and at the end of that, in December, end of that semester, connected with some really good friends, and through that, and nothing radical happened. Mm. I went from being involved with one group of people to now I'm planted in a different community. Yeah. So my heart didn't change first, my environment did. Mm. And so I had to get out of the club, the people who wanted to go party, who wanted to sleep around, who wanted to drink. I had to leave that first, and then the heart change came after. So I don't remember when I gave my life to Christ, but my moment and the end of my toilet flush was making 3 phone calls, one to each of those women, and telling them that I was ending things. And I knew it was different this time because I was ending it for them, not for me. Everything up until that point had been self-motivated and very selfish. Mm-hmm. But I knew that it wasn't fair. It wasn't right to them. And that was a turning point. And so less than a month after that, went into 21 days of prayer and fasting. So again, not to hyper spiritualize everything, I just kept doing the next right thing. Yeah. So you may not know what the next, like, I can look back now and see it all strung together. Yeah. But at the time, I was just like, I'm just going to go to church. I feel like I should get baptized. Hey, here's a cell phone. Connection. 6 months later, I need to break these things. I need to break these relationships off. This isn't. If they knew, like, how would I feel? Yeah. If someone was playing me like a funky fiddle. You know what I'm saying? And then 21 days of prayer and fasting. I was already at the church. They did it. I was single. Didn't have to be to work till like 8 or 9. I'm just going to go. Okay, I'm just going to go. Yeah. And day 6 to 8, somewhere around there, I felt like the Lord told me to get more information about the Bible, Highlands College. And literally it just went from there. So that point was when I started to like, I can see it. Yeah. I can see that there is more. And it started with, you got it. If you are in an environment or have friends in a circle that is not pointing you closer to Jesus, or if you're not a follower of Christ, pointing you, we all have things in our life. I feel like we know, like, if this thing weren't in my life would be better. Mm-hmm. Whatever that is, an attitude problem, like you judge people, it could be drug. Like, we all have that thing. So if the people and the environment you're in are pulling you closer to that thing, that is your sign that it's time to find a new environment.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So for that person that's on the other end of this camera, and they're battling with the point, like, you know what, that's me. I'm done. I want to be able to break free of this. I want to be able to change. I want to be able to live a life of purpose, of meaning, but they just don't know how. And I'll give you the cheat code. Your answer is Jesus. So you don't have to try and figure out. The answer is Jesus. Yeah. But for that person, would you do us the honor of leading that person from death to life, being able to show them, hey, I was this way, but I did this one thing and it changed the rest of my life. And now my future is secured. Would you mind doing us the honors of leading that person to the next best thing?
That's a great way of putting it. I would love to. So if that's you, I want to first, I don't know how much time we have left, but
we good. We good on time.
I just want to first say it's hard. And I can sit here with a wife of going on 5 years, a son, another son on the way, been in ministry 8 years. Like, I can sit on this side of my life at 35 years old and look back and piece it all together and see how the Lord's hand has been on my life. But when you're in it, it's a very isolating place. Can be a very scary place. And even if you're not to the point of, that you're ready to make a change, you feel it. And I say that because the Lord has placed eternity in the hearts of everyone. And so if you're not living a life that is having an eternal impact in some way, you will feel a hole. You will feel a gap. Mm-hmm. And so if you are watching this right now and you are in whatever type of stint of time, season you want to call it, but you just know that there's more, I want to acknowledge the fact that you're still here. You're here, so there's still time. And you're watching this, and that's not on accident. Nothing towards me or necessarily the podcast. God has worked it in a way where you're here in this moment right now. And so I want to say I see you. I want to say that if anybody told you it should be easy, I think they lied to you, but it is possible. And so if you know that you are you're at that turning point where you've tried out everything else and now you're ready to put your faith in Jesus Christ, I want you to, wherever you are, if you're at home by yourself, you can close your eyes. If you're in a coffee shop with headphones in, maybe don't or do, whatever you feel comfortable. It's not the words that matter. It's the faith and the posture of your heart. And so I want you to say something to the extent of, Lord God, forgive me for what I've done. And I ask you to be my Lord, be my Savior, be my God. And boldly, I want you to ask him to show you his glory. Tell him that you'll do the best that you can to follow him with everything you have. And it's just that simple. And if you think, or if you've been told that this moment of salvation is what the word for it is, being saved or made whole, is the end of the road and it all is downhill from here, that's also not true. This is the beginning. Yep. And so like I had to do, if you just made that decision, or maybe you've been off track for a while, and this is your time to rededicate or repent, and turn back toward God. Just do the next right thing. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to figure out the next 12 steps. Just do the next right thing. Is there somebody you need to call and forgive or ask forgiveness from? Have you been kicking the tires of going to a church? Maybe you have one close by. Maybe just go and see what happens. But when I said ask the Lord to show you his glory, I'm not talking about crack open the heavens and show his angels. I'm just make it clear that you're real. And I believe, and I've seen that when you ask that question genuinely in faith, he will find a way to do it in a way that he knows you will recognize and hear. And so that would be my encouragement to you.
Amen. Adam, man, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I love to see how God is we woven this story together to be able to see like where you came from, to see like there was a point in time where you wanted to do your own thing. You had your own plans, you had your own goals, you had your own ambitions, and we saw how that ended up in that toilet flush. But God came, and after all of that, you were like, you know what? I came to the end of myself, where I realized there has to be more to life, and you ended up making the decision that changed your life for the better. And now you get the opportunity to share with other people. You get to tell them about the same decision that you got to make to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And so, man, thank you so much for being able to share this story and give us insight. And I appreciate you being honest, because there are people that just need to hear the honest truth. Because if you sugarcoat it, they were like, okay, cool, yeah, whatever. But when you tell them the honest truth, they're like, wow, that just gives more perspective and emphasis to what God, the magnitude of God's power of saving you. So thank you so much, man, for being on the podcast, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And so I'm guessing if they want to connect, if they want to follow you, if someone wants to reach out, how can they do that?
Yeah, you can just call me at. I'm just playing. Don't do Facebook.
Okay.
I'm not young enough for whatever the new thing is, but I'm old enough to be off Facebook. So Instagram would be a great way. It ain't that many Adam Okechukwu. I think it's adam.c, Christopher.Okechukwu, adam.c.Okechukwu. You can tag it or whatever.
Yeah.
If you, yeah. Find somebody to talk to. Find somebody. Ask the Lord to give. If you have somebody in your life, don't squander it. If you need to, for the men, it's not weak to be vulnerable, man. It's not weak. For the ladies, y'all are really good at it. If you make that decision today, or you have rededicated, I know if you've been to church, this is said a lot, but it's really important to tell somebody. Tell somebody about it. There's accountability, and you will find that sharing that with the right people is potentially the next right thing to do. So Instagram, adam.c.Okechukwu, or if you got my phone number, just text me.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Adam, thank you so much again, man, for coming on the podcast, for sharing everything, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And again, great job on your communication.
Oh, thank you, man.
Thoroughly. You did a great job.
Yeah. you sound thoroughly impressed.
I'm going to take notes, man. I got to get better.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to wrap this episode up. But like I said in the beginning, hey, if this podcast, if the testimony of Adam or any of our other guests in the past have helped you, we would strongly recommend that you go and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so you are aware when new episodes are released. And like, if you want to take your faith just one step further, you can go ahead and follow the link below. It'll take you to our website. You can become a financial partner with this ministry and help us to be able to take these stories of faith around the world to the people that need them, so that they can experience salvation, they can experience faith, they can experience restoration and a life filled with Christ and walking in his benefits. And so if you want to go ahead and do so, like I said, you can follow the link below. It'll take you to our website, and it'll tell you how to become a financial partner there. And then lastly, hey, if God's doing something in your life, if you decided to rededicate your life or give your life to Christ, or something's going on in your life, we would love to know, all through social media, email, on the comments below. You can find a way to reach out to us. We would love to know what's going on in your life so we can celebrate what God's doing. And so we're going to have to sign off for today. But until next time, this has been Faith Ignite. We'll see you guys next time.